like, I'm not afraid to get a little sassy when I see silliness. I remember I pissed someone off royally.
Have you ever had
Everyone
anybody
sucks.
steal your artwork?
Yeah, he was gonna tell me to shut up, and he did. There's a
It's
story
so cute
behind
when
that
the
too, but
birds tell us to shut up.
Welcome to the Parrot Podcast with your host, Sandra, where we talk about all things parrots.
Welcome back to another episode of the Parrot Podcast. I'm your host, Sandra, and I hope that you are all having a clawsome day. Even though we are still feeling the heat of summer, I am ready for fall. It is September, and we have some of our fall decor out. So if you're watching the video version, you'll get to see a glimpse of that. And I've already been drinking my pumpkin spice lattes, and it is giving me life. I am here for it. I am a fall girly. So I am welcoming the sweater weather with open arms. I'm waiting for you. And on today's episode, I have a special guest for you. Her name is Jen, and she is the amazing artist behind the chubby bird artwork that you may have seen on social media and online called birdhism. And today we're going to chat with Jen because she is not only a bird artist who has created all of these parrot products and drawings, but she also has a very diverse flock of her own, including budgies and cockatiels and lovebirds. And she also has a lot of experience with disabled birds in her flock. So we're also going to chat with her today about birds with disabilities and what it's like to care for those types of birds. Plus, she really tries to educate and advocate for birds and their welfare and caring for them, including special needs birds, through her pages and through her art. So let's get chatting with Jen. Welcome to the Parrot Podcast. It is so awesome to have you on the show today, Jen.
yeah, I'm happy to be here.
That's awesome. So for everybody that's listening, let everybody know a little bit about you and what you do.
Oh, that's like the hard part. Like I can hype other people, but hyping myself's always like a struggle.
I was hyping
Let's
you up in
see.
the intro. Don't worry.
Oh, thank you. That's sweet. Let's see. I did rescue for about 10 years. And in order to pay the mounting vet bills and not ask for donations, because I didn't really want to get into all that, I ended up starting to do these little chubby bird illustrations. I have a background in graphic design, and I've been drawing since I was a kid. And it just I mixed the two together, and yeah, I made the chubby birds. I love Pusheen, I love Kawaii, I love Hello Kitty and Sanrio, and I'm like, are you gonna join in? Okay. You know how they know I'm on the phone. I love all that, and I was like, but there's no bird related ones. I'd love to have like cockatiels and all that, and so I became the change I wanted to see, and I
love that.
started designing these guys and selling them, and that kind of balanced things out. And then my side hustle became my main hustle because I got let go from my job because it got bought up and blah blah blah. So are you gonna be nice now?
He's like, I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, she wants to be in the podcast.
Yeah. And this is the Parrot Podcast. So you're in the right place, honey.
Right? So yeah, and now my goal is to have a nice cozy company that can treat their employees well as support conservation sanctuary and just outreach. And my dream right now is to make a cute bird care book, except business, all the business management side of things keeps pulling me away from that. So it's a huge balancing act. And but I don't give up.
Yeah. And I think that when you have your own business and you have a side hustle that turns into your hustle, you can't give up, because there's,
Never.
there's so many things that go into it. You're the role of everybody like in one
Yeah.
business. You have to do all of the different things. So it's a lot of balancing, and there's so many different things and so many ideas you get, so many projects we want to do, so many birds we want to help. And sometimes you get pulled in so many different directions, but I love that you don't give up and that you've created so many cute burb pieces of artwork. Like I love everything. Like you are just so talented and really
Oh,
have
thank
like a
you.
vision for this parrot artwork. So I really love what you're doing. And I also really love that you're using birdism as a way to also educate people in like a cute and like fun way. And it's just like,
Yeah.
for some, it can be like so much easier to absorb when it's
Yeah, it's like a
simplified
gentle
and it's cute.
nudge to
Yeah.
do better. Like, and I think people want to do better. Like
Yeah.
it's over the years, I used to do like tabling at like bird shows, and I would be doing nothing but just teaching people this is what to expect when you bring a bird into your home, all the safety things you have to consider, getting in touch with a vet, blah blah blah. Um, yeah.
Yeah. And I think that that's really important because that's something that like not everybody gets that information when they first get their bird, whether it's from a breeder or a pet store, or, they adopted a bird or whatever way that a bird comes into someone's life. Not always do they get that information of what the bird needs and the complex care requirements. So I think that it's really important and really great that you're sharing that through your cute artwork. But also tell us about your flock. I want to know about all the birds in your flock. I read your blog a little bit and your about section
Yeah.
on your website. So I know about you and your background, but for those listening, tell us about how you got started with birds and your flock.
Mwah. Mikey wanted a kiss. So it started with a bird at Petco, and this was back before I knew like bird adoption was a thing. And there was a little dusky conure who paced back and forth at me, tripped, got back up, and paced back and forth again. I'm like, oh no, she loves me. I need her in my life. And I got her a big old cage. I got a conure care book, which I still have. And just I loved her. She was such a little spirited, goofy, as most conures are, goofy
Yeah.
little guy. And yeah, there was a huge learning curve to her. I've had experience with birds in the past, pigeons, doves, chickens. Like I would never take an animal into my life that I couldn't care for.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, from there, I remember looking like I was so smitten and obsessed. I was like, I want a background of conures for my desktop at work. So I looked at I was looking at wallpapers of conures, and Pet Finder came up, and I saw this. I was like, oh my God, who would ever give up a bird? Little did I know. Um, and let's see, I saw, I was scrolling through, and I saw Wildlife Care Center of South Florida had a special needs bird named Clifford. I'm like, oh, what special needs? Like, what's up with this little guy? He had splay legs, just like Cody did.
Oh,
And I'm like, oh my God, could I do 2 conures? I could. I've done 1. Now I could do 2. Why not? It's not a big deal. And plus, like, my mom's home, so she could. You're being too. Is he being too loud? I could put him in his house.
no, no, no.
Okay.
The chirps are very charming.
So yeah, Mike, you just want to be involved.
Yeah.
Have a kiss. Little kiss. ADHD big time. Anyways, so I ended up bringing him home, or first, this is how I learned proper rescue protocol. Michelle at the Wildlife Center was like, well, before you take the bird, first you meet the bird. I met the bird, loved the bird. Secondly, she has to come up and see and do a home inspection and see how the cage setup is. I'm like,
I
oh,
love
okay, no
that.
problem. And I set it all up. I got like a wide, low cage for him, and like platforms so he can like sit. And he could climb, so he's a total excellent climber. They approved of it, and then they let me adopt him, and that bird was so close to my heart. Like he still lives there today. And I used to take him everywhere, just like I did with Cody. I had a big little purse with a screen on it. He used to go to college with me. Used to go get sushi. Used to go to the beach. Same thing as Cody. Like he was OG Cody. And then we had him for about a year. He started to get his red colors in, and he was getting checked up at the vet regularly because he was special and had conditions, like liver issues. And he suddenly had a seizure, and we rushed him to the ER, and we got the call a little while later saying he passed away. And that destroyed me so hard. I missed work for a day. I kept crying just at the thought of him for like a week. And then I couldn't say his name without crying for about 3 years. Like that's how much this was my child.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
to combat that sadness, I know I started to volunteer at the wildlife care center that saved him originally, him and so many
Okay.
other birds. And through that, I met Jacqueline, who ran No Paw Left Behind. And then she's like, well, you can do a thing with us and do No Feather Left Behind. So I was doing that for a while. And then I wouldn't buy Gucci purses. I would blow all my money on vet bills and bird stuff. Because I was working as an art director full time.
Okay.
And after that, I would do the home inspections. I would do table, any free moment I had, was doing something with the birds, finding good homes, picking them up. And it just snowballed from there. Be polite. Ellie, Clifford, then Paco.
Okay.
And then there's a whole story with Paco, but RIP. He had aspergillosis. And after he passed, I got Mikey. He came to me with aspergillosis. We tried to fight it.
And for anybody
Couldn't.
who's listening, can you tell us what that is?
I'm not a vet, but I recall it being a fungal infection of the lungs. Alex the African Gray had it. But he got, I don't know, it's very tough to treat. And we almost did surgery. But he's like, oh, the nebulizing's working. I hear buzzing from upstairs. Sorry. I'm not the most best podcaster person. I'm just like,
no worries.
And just
podcasts are
anxious.
Unhinged.
I am so unhinged, but I try to do it in a good way. All right, so Paco, yeah, eventually he passed away. At Dr. Bacchus, who ended up being my main vet and helped me so much with bringing in all the rescue birds that came in. But yeah, it's a tough thing to treat. Medicine started working, and then it didn't start, it stopped working, and he just declined. And doing surgery is risky because the bird's already compromised. So rehab, or the whole rehab process, you might not even get to that. But to me, you try to do the best you can with the knowledge you have and hope for the best. Then Paco, then Pico, who also came from the Wildlife Center. Right, Pico? Who's possibly a feral. No, you had to be a feral baby. Pico, you a feral baby? Did you have a flock? But he was a baby. So he was missing tail feathers. Something got to him. They patched him up. Or no, her. We found out Pico was for sure her when she laid a massive egg.
Oh my gosh.
I had to drive.
That's one way to find out.
Massive egg. I just sent you the picture. You can use it for whatever.
Yes, send me a picture. We'll throw it up on here.
Oh my God, I will send you the picture. But massive old egg, you were not passing that sucker at all. Took her to 3 hours almost to Houston, to the ER clinic. They popped that sucker out, fortunately. She's still here with us. Got a Lupron shot.
Yeah, thank goodness. Oh my gosh. Okay, so tell us in total, how many birds do you have in your flock right now?
I have 9. Okay, so let's summarize. I got Mikey, Pico, 2 conures, Milo, Hilda, Lolo and Jester, so that's 4 lovebirds, and 3 little finches, Samwise, Mary, and Pippin.
Okay, so a lot. So you've got lovebirds. You have, I think I saw cockatiels,
No
budgies.
cockatiels.
No
No
cockatiels.
budgies. Back
No
in the
budgies.
day, I used to have a lot more, and then I had to move. So
Okay, because on your website, I had also seen Francis and Hilda.
Francis was about 10 when he passed away. He was an English budgie, so I need to update the page. Yeah.
Okay. So currently you have 9 birds, but in the past you've had many more, and
Yes,
you've
when I was
had
doing rescue.
lovebirds, budgies, cockatiels,
Amazons.
conures, Amazons.
African greys. That was the biggest I'd go for, is like the African greys and the Amazons. The rest were little guys because I didn't have the means.
Yeah. Okay. And the conures that you have, Pico and Mikey, what types of conures are they?
Pico is a Finch's conure. Hello, Pico.
With the beautiful
not
red
a cherry
head.
head. She's very like Christmas themed.
So beautiful.
There she goes. Some people like, don't let the birds on your head. Oh, are you gonna preen me?
I think that
And then
that's
Mikey's a
a
blue
huge
crown.
misconception. It's totally fine to have your bird on your head. Birds perch in the highest spot possible. They're not trying to dominate us or anything like that. So I let Mia on my head all the time. She loves to be there, especially if I'm doing something. She can be at the very top investigating what dishes is mom cleaning right now.
Pico loves doing dishes. Like, she'll talk up a storm as I do them in the morning. It makes the chore less tedious.
Yeah. You were talking also a lot about Cody, and I know Cody is, kind of, I think, started birdism. Right.
Yeah.
And I wanted you to tell us a little bit more about Cody, and what was it about Cody that inspired you to create this artwork? I know it might be a little bit emotional. And
no, I feel better now because I reminded myself I did the best I could to give him a good life. And
I think so.
Although he's gone, I was blessed enough to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So that's what I focus on now, so I don't get all
choked
up in mush. And here's I got little feathers in here.
Oh,
this was made by
that's so cute.
Sweet. Yes, little feathers.
So you always have him with you. I love that.
And I used tattooed on my arm his little character.
Oh my gosh! Stop, Jen! I'm melting.
And Clifford's on my back, on my shoulder blade. So Clifford did No Feather Left Behind, and then Cody inspired birdism.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
My son, my birdie soulmate, he helped me through so much.
And how long was Cody in your life for?
8 years.
That's a long time.
The guy who gave him to me, from Chippy the Pirate's bird shop, he took in all sorts of birds. He's like, oh man, I thought he was only going to be like live for 2 years because he had issues, and I got him for 8 years, thanks to regular vet care. I just tried to spoil him rotten.
You went the distance, and it shows, because instead of 2 years, he had 8, and I think that that's incredible.
He got vitamins through Bacchus. I just made sure he wasn't in any pain. And then I had his little purse, and he would happily go with me at events because he's very people friendly. He went to anime conventions, met some really wonderful people, some voice actors, and it was it helped me make connections with people easily, because I used to have really bad social anxiety. I still have it now, but I kind of like repress it a little.
And the birds help.
the birds, they are my, what is it? My brain's fogging out right now. Where you can take your bird, emotional support animal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like, they totally are. They're my unofficial emotional
ESAs.
support animal. Yeah.
So
Right.
for anybody that's listening, tell us about Cody, because I know about Cody because I read about Cody all on your website, but
Right.
he was a special
Uh,
needs bird and
he
he came
was.
into your life. So
Yes.
tell us a little bit about him and what were his special needs?
Okay, so that's right. Chippy the pirate, Clive, he gave them to me for free. He's like, take them. I've seen you in here enough. I made a little donation to his rescue bird fund he had. He gave me some like nice little chop mix. Um, and that's how I acquired him. His name came from the show me and my ex were watching, where there's this hippie guy and there was this military guy. I forgot the name of the show. And the, the military guy was like, Cody, where's your shoes? You need to wear your shoes. You're going to get hurt. And we looked at the little new bird in our lives and we're like, Cody, where's your shoes? Like, look at your legs. Your legs got hurt because you didn't wear your shoes.
Oh,
And that's how he got his name. It's just being silly.
yeah.
So he
And
had
what was
splay
his,
legs.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, he had splay legs. That's right. He had splay legs. He could shuffle. He could climb. He just couldn't walk upright like your
Yeah.
able-bodied bird.
And what is
Um,
what is the condition, like splayed legs? Like what happens and why
the
do some birds
cause of
have
it.
splayed legs?
Sometimes it's nutritional deficiency. Sometimes like the breeder box or the nest box area doesn't have enough grip, so they don't have the opportunity to build their leg muscles.
Oh, okay.
Um, it could be a genetic defect, just things didn't add up. And when the egg was forming, I suppose. So it's a few different reasons. Not 100% sure for Cody's situation, but he had a, you can correct them when they're younger through like braces and physical
Okay.
therapy. But he
And
was
is it something that can develop later on in their life?
um
Or is it usually when they're
possibly due
younger?
to injury. Uh, but I don't, like, again, I'm not a vet, so I don't want to say for sure.
Yeah.
But as I've come across many special needs birds, I have not, I've seen paralyzed birds that have like injuries or a neurological issue that cause the paralysis. Um, so I wouldn't consider that splay legs. So I can't say for certain if it happens later on
Okay.
in life.
Yeah. And what are some things that you would do for Cody to make his life pain-free, more comfortable? And I'm sure people are also wondering, like, if he couldn't walk, like, how did he get around? And what did you do to also, like, make his life more comfortable and care for him?
Okay, so I had experience with Clifford with the little low set perches. And so for the bedding, I would get fleece.
Okay.
Now you have to be careful with fleece because their little nails can get
Yeah.
caught up in it. So I got blue mechanics not toilet paper, paper towels. So like you can see it in AutoZone, like Max was into like cars and stuff. And I noticed
Yeah.
like, wow, this is really durable,
Yeah. I've
soft.
seen those paper towels.
Yeah, and I've never had an issue with him getting his nails stuck in it. So I would put that on top of the fleece instead of newspaper, because newspaper's a little hard to
Yeah.
get for shuffling.
Yeah.
Every day he's shuffling. So
He
I
could be
would
in a
put that
music
on top.
video.
He was a champ at shuffling.
So he
And
was good.
climbing.
He was still able to move around because he would
Yes.
shuffle, he would climb. Was he able to fly or a little bit or not
So
so
one
much?
time he can hoverbird. So one time
Okay.
I was fixing his little fluff bed that I would like, it was like this basket that had fluff and I was trying to just redo because he did a dookie, and I put him on the tile floor next to me for just a sec. We didn't have cats or anything, so I put him there and I'm like, hold on Cody, just a second, and I fixed it up. And as I did that, he flapped his wings and just glided his butt across the floor.
Oh, like a sugar glider.
He was like Roombaing, sweeping my floor with his booty.
Oh, so he still had a means of like getting around and moving around and getting to things that he
Yes.
wanted or to play with or needed, like to eat
Hmm.
or drink or anything like that.
Yeah, I
So
had
you
like a
mentioned,
horizontal ladder that he would flutter and get on top of
oh,
and
okay,
just
okay.
sit
So
and
you had a
bask.
horizontal ladder. You mentioned
Hmm.
that you had perches really low for him, that you made it like nice and squishy on the bottom for him so he could shuffle around. And I
And his
also
little
saw that
cozy
you
beds.
like made this like purse to carry him around and take him places with you.
Yeah, that one was bought. That was, I think, like Katie, or I
Okay.
saw it at a bird shop. It's like, or you can get it on Amazon too. It's like a little purse. They have more options now. Um, but the little fluff beds were handmade, for the most part. So he liked to sit in my hands, but he also liked getting cheek rubs from people. So to make it easier on everybody, I had the little donut, and I would scritch past him to other people, and he'd just tilt his head and get them little cheeky rubs from anybody.
Cute.
He loved it. It's like, oh, I'm getting spoiled. Oh, you
Oh
gonna rub
my
my cheeks?
God.
Be my friend.
And that's how the Cody and the donut art was born,
Yep,
which is
yep,
also
yep.
so adorable.
That's why he's sitting in the donut, because it helped with the whole like making him comfy and letting him be social with people.
Yeah. I also wanted to ask with the splayed legs, what were some challenges that you faced when it came to mobility and exercise with your birds who have splayed legs? And what did you do to keep them active and engaged? Or like enrichment activities did you provide?
Um, I would give him the toys to do shreddies, and just play. Standard bird toys. Um, I would take them if they were social. If they did not stress out over traveling with me, they can go on little excursions and just be in nature, hang out with people. If not, I was living at home at the time, so they had interactions with my mom and my dad, uh on the regular. Like, dad would come home from work, and we had Scooty, who had she was paralyzed. She came to the vet like, oh, we don't know what happened, she can't walk anymore. Don't be rude. Extra pinchy there. um so they came in, they were going to euthanize her, and my friend was like, come get this bird, she's just your type. And I'm like, okay, no problem. And for her, since she wasn't as good at shuffling as Cody was, she too got a fluff bed. She had when dad came home from work, they would interact together, and he would be on his phone scrolling or watching movies, and she would just sit there and watch. I
Cute.
would have to clean her booty regularly because she couldn't do the poop and scoot like Cody did.
Oh,
So
yeah.
she
I
didn't
didn't
like
even think of
that.
that because
Yeah.
they're so low to the ground because of their legs being out. You know, they're pooping and urinating every 15 minutes.
Mhm. So I
Yeah.
would have to monitor that regularly. Mom had to help me with that, when I was at work or doing my little excursions, doing rescue stuff.
Yeah.
So that's one of the challenges. If you don't have one that poops and scoots, you might need to like work from home to help those guys.
Yeah. And how did they sleep? Because most birds sleep standing up or perched up with one foot tucked
Oh,
in. So were they
yeah.
just like in their little beds that you made for them?
Sometimes it would be in the bed. Cody would sometimes be in the ladder and just tuck his head behind him and sleep.
Oh, cute. Oh my gosh.
I have a story about Cody trolling my friend, who's also a vet tech, and at the bird clinic. So I went on a trip, and I was like, "Can you watch Cody while I'm on the trip? Because God forbid anything happens, he'll be at the vet. They
Yeah.
can do what they need to do."
Yeah.
So I come back, and my friend's like, "Come get your boy." And I'm like, "Okay." And like, Cody, here he come. And he's on his back like a dead cockroach. And we both panicked. And my friend's like, "Oh my God, he was just moving. He was just moving." And I'm like, "Oh, wait a second, he does that. And I go, Cody. He's like, huh? And he goes like this with his feet.
Oh my gosh, he was such a character. I love him.
Oh,
Oh,
for him to play cockroach. And my friend's like, I will never forgive this bird.
for giving me such a fright.
Yeah. Like, oh my God, I swear he's alive.
On the topic of special needs birds, you also mentioned that you've had a bird that came to you paralyzed.
Yeah, Scooty. Scooty's the cockatiel that I have.
Okay, so Scooty, where is Scooty paralyzed?
Her leggies, like for the most, she can move her feet, but she couldn't like get up.
Okay. And so what is life like with a bird that's paralyzed? Like, how do you adjust your care now to a bird that has been paralyzed? Like, what are some special things that you need to focus on or do for a bird that's paralyzed?
Especially one that doesn't like to go out that much.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, because that I can't give her the stimulation of going out and about because I don't want to stress her out. I
Yeah.
had music on, I had TV on, she had low toys. Just gotta make sure to clean up after her regularly. Um, Again, this is like it's good match for someone who does work from home
Yeah.
and has the means to do like regular checkups to make sure they're they have quality of life.
That's super
That's the
important.
biggest thing.
Yeah.
Make sure they're not in pain, make sure they're happy. Because at any point there's like an apex of, okay, they're doing good. Oh no, they're declining. And the hard part is finding that because you don't want them to, you just don't want them to suffer.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's a struggle because you have to make that call to say, okay, it's time to go to the Rainbow Bridge. Which taking the special guys, I kind of had to get used to. I feel like after I dealt with Cody, not Cody, with Clifford, I was better able to be accepting of when that time came. It's hard. It's not for people who form attachments without being able to let go. A lot of people, that's one of the biggest things doing bird rescue is learning how to let go and say goodbye. So be it to a Rainbow Bridge or to a new home, because if you don't give them to a new home, you're gonna end up being a hoarder, and you don't want that.
Well, when it comes to birbs, maybe we do want that.
I mean, the only difference between a sanctuary and a hoarding situation is level of care. So if you can give them legit quality level of care, everyone's getting the love they need, everyone's getting the toys they need, everyone's getting the good food and so on. Like if you have a team of helpers, then you're good.
Yeah.
But as soon as you lose helpers, lose finances, that's when your living situation changes, which it's happened to me a number of times. I've never had like stability home wise, location wise, since I was like 11. Did a lot of moving to get, it's just how life be sometimes. And we can't keep, I'm doing the ADHD rant, bouncing from subject to subject, but you can't fault people for wanting to do their best in crappy situations. And sometimes the best is letting go of their beloved bird.
Yeah.
And we can't
You're
judge
absolutely
them
right.
for that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was just joking about the hoarding thing, but I like that you brought that up because it is really important. Like sometimes when situations change or things happen, like you mentioned, sometimes you have to think about what is the best thing for this soul, for this animal, and there's actually this Hawaiian word of what we are for our pets, and I can't remember what it is. I'm going to put it up on the screen because it's like it's something with a K, like kawaii or something like this. Right now I can't remember it and I wish
You're
I
right.
could.
I've seen it too. I've
Yeah,
seen
but
it.
the definition is that like we are our birds or any pet, like we are their caretaker, we are their protector. And
Right.
so yeah, we need to care for them and love them, and we don't own them. We protect them and love them and care for them the best that we can. And sometimes depending on the situation, that is us doing the best by them, is rehoming them if we have that type of
Not so much for us. It's like we're here with them. Or what is it? They're here with us, not for us.
Yes, I love that. That's exactly it. So
Pickle.
I think that that's really important to touch on. And, if somebody who's listening is in that type of situation, there's no judgment. You need to do what's best for the situation, the best that you know how, and just ensuring that your bird or birds have the best care possible and the best quality of life that we're able to give them and provide for them. So I wanted to touch back a little bit on the special needs birds.
Yes.
We talked about some of the birds that you've worked with and birds that you've had that were paralyzed, that had splayed legs, that had fungal
Seniors,
infections.
nasties, like Hilda, who came back twice.
Oh my gosh. So tell me, what other types of special needs birds have you worked with or had in your home?
I mean, we could talk about the double birds and the seniors. I've had a few like blind seniors. Chickadee comes to mind. Chickadee was a senior lovebird who
Okay.
was blind. But she was fine in the sense that she got to her food bowl, she got to her perches, she loved snuggling in hands. I remember if it wasn't a hand, and she would try to murder it. She's like,
Oh
"What
my
is this?
gosh.
It must die!" And then she's back to being little Saint Chickadee, just snuggling. Um, but yeah, there was nothing we really had to do other than just like keep an eye on her,
Okay.
and just not
And
move things
how
out
did
of the
she
usual place.
become blind?
Age.
Oh, okay.
Old lady. Old lady
Okay. Not
Chickadee.
all birds, though, when they get old, become blind. So
Uh,
do they?
I mean, I could tell a bird's I can tell usually that a bird is older, based usually like on feather condition, and I've seen the cataracts. Like Louis had cataracts and sinus problems. Um, I have come across a decent amount of old blind birds. Now, is it
Interesting.
all
Okay.
birds? I can't say for sure, but I have met many that were both severe
Okay.
and blind.
And so if somebody is considering adopting a bird that's blind, or they have experience with their bird starting to go blind, what are your recommendations of like, what should you do for a parrot in that type of situation? I know you mentioned like keep things where they are, don't move around their perches. And, that's
Mhm.
something that we always talk about with our birds, is switching things up, rotating their toys, rotating where things are to keep things enriching, engaging, fun, and interesting. But when a bird is starting to lose their vision, then that's probably not a good thing for them, because it can get confusing and hard to get to things.
Exactly. 100%. And when they hit that age, you have to consider these guys get arthritis like we do. It's like, what would you do for grandma? And it's yeah, it's funny, Mikey. I'm so funny. You have to consider they might have arthritis, so you might look into pain management sort of thing, with your avian vet. I believe Medicam is hard on their organs, so you have to weigh whether like, is it worth giving them the painkiller, but it'll also deteriorate their organs. I mean, do you want them to be in pain? Like it's a decision you and your vet need to make.
Yeah.
I'm not going to impose my opinions on it per se. Um, so for their perches, um, let's see. There is self-adhesive medical tape that you can get off of Amazon. You could talk to your vet about it. and you can make the perches a little bit more cushiony by wrapping it up. Like, don't use dowel perches for one.
Yeah.
You could just get any other perch. No sand perches. I'm so mad that they're still selling them. And I talked to here's ADHD moment. I talked to someone who's in the industry, and they said we sell them. Despite their efforts of saying stop selling them, they're not good for birds. They make money. They still make money.
Unfortunately, everything that makes money, they're going to continue to do it, whether it's good or not. And we do
Boycott
that
them.
outside of just parrot stuff too, you know,
Yeah,
as
just
humans.
in general.
Yeah.
Anyone listening, don't boycott them sand perches. Yeah, go get your bird groomed regularly at your vet.
Yeah.
Right, Mikey? Right, Mikey?
Or you can do it at home as well. If you get like one of those, I think they're like stone filing perches, or sorry, not
I know what you
the files. And you can file, you can teach your bird how to file their nails. And there's definitely other safer ways to do it. Or when your bird needs a nail trim, just go to the vet. I take Mia to the vet because I'm just like too nervous to cut her nails. Maybe one day I'll get there. I do it for our dog Lambo, but with him, it's like so easy for me now. But yeah. Okay, perches. So you were mentioning that we can make the perches more cushiony for birds that are blind.
Yes. Blind and older and arthritic.
Okay.
I'm kind of lumping them all together since they're all kind of I mean, you can get a bird that's born blind. If they're born blind, you might have to start with the low perches, start with the low food bowls, ceramic bowls, that's another thing I totally forgot about. I have heavy ceramic bowls for the guys that are like the bottom dwellers, so that it's heavy enough that it won't tip over on them, and they can still access it. Now for food bowl, I mean, you can do ceramic for, you know what, like when I was doing the hospital cage with a bird that couldn't climb, I did a soy sauce dish for the food or for their salad. You know, you can use those, but the ceramic ones are the way to go.
Yeah. Okay.
And then wrapping the perches in the self-adhesive medical tape also makes it more cushiony for their feet. So
and why is that helpful for a bird that's blind?
I was lumping them all together. For a bird that's blind, not so much.
Okay. So it's more so for the senior birds or the birds who have arthritis and some kind of like pain in their legs. That makes it more cushiony on their feet.
Yes. That is often paired with the blindness, but for straight blind birds, just keep your cage as it is as much as you can. If you want to introduce something new to them, like kind of do it slowly so they don't like freak out, like, oh, put it there, let them acknowledge it's there, and perhaps this is just theorizing, maybe take it away from them for a little while if it upsets them too much. If it doesn't upset them, leave it there.
Okay. And so in a cage where you're like, it's a cage for your bird that's blind, you've talked about the perches and the bowls. Should we have like enrichment opportunities or toys? Like, do you have all that type of stuff in the cage as well? Or does it become too much or maybe too overwhelming or something they can bump into?
So I would have things latched onto the sides, not just freely rolling around, because it could be like jump scare to them. Like, oh God, it's over there now. Oh God, now it's over here. Like, although some birds may not care, but I'm just thinking, generally speaking, if you have toys that you like replenish, so like if the Chewy toy wears down, try to get something very similar in the same place.
Okay.
Less rolly stuff, more stationary stuff.
Okay. And with the birds that are special needs, and we've talked about a few different ones now, is there any like nutritional or diet considerations that you had to like make or changes to include into their diet depending on their condition?
So I've talked to a couple of avian vets, and I feel like I don't know if some of them have updated their nutritional knowledge versus some that learned it long ago.
Yeah.
But the most standard is if you have a pellet-based diet, um, they have it's better for them to have a pellet-based diet with like seeds as a treat,
Yeah.
and of course the fresh. There are some brands like Harrison's who does have an adult form. Will you no, don't eat my bangs, please. That do have a senior blend, like adult nutritional
Yeah.
blends in
Yeah.
various
I've seen those.
sizes.
Yeah.
And some birds will take to some pellets over other pellets. If you can transition them to it, awesome. But some of them will not transition to them, and they will starve themselves straight up. You can tell if they're starving themselves by if they're pooping. If they ain't pooping at a regular rate, then you know they're not eating. And
Yeah.
you have to, and if their keel gets too, but there are birds that are so stubborn that they will starve themselves before going to pellets.
That's crazy. And those are the
Yeah,
birds that were on a seed diet. You adopt them with the
correct.
special needs, and then you're trying to transition them
Correct.
to pellets and fresh food. It's crazy.
So that's stuff to be mindful of. You have to, it's better for your bird to eat garbage, honestly, than for them to starve.
Yeah.
So
We don't want no
like you do the
starving birds.
best. Right. So if you can get them on more nutritional things, great. As for supplements, if they are on pellets and you're putting them on supplements, they might be getting too much. So that can cause a problem.
Yeah.
Again, talk to your vets for the best advice, maybe even get second opinions. But more nutrition is better for the older guys, but don't overdo it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Are there any other special needs birds that you've worked with that we should mention?
Let's see. We got the seniors. We got the
We did
slays.
seniors, arthritis,
What else
paralyzed,
we got?
splayed legs, fungal
The
infections,
nasties. They're not so much special
blind.
needs, although I lump them in there because it's just a level of difficulty that people are not always accepting of, and
Which
that's like the
ones?
more the nasty, sassy, bitey,
Oh, the
wildy,
biters, the behavioral.
feral, the behavioral the naughty babies.
Yeah.
Now they're not so much naughty as they are wild animals.
Yeah.
That's just how it be. They're not exotic animals. Nah, they're wild animals. They're one or
Yeah.
two generations from the wild, usually,
Yeah.
except for like some budgies and
Yeah.
pigeons, blah blah blah. So Hilda, perfect example. Hilda, dad calls a raptor. He's like, oh my
Hilda
god,
is your
like,
a lovebird.
is my angry lovebird. Hold
Okay.
on. It's okay. Sorry. This is, I got, hold on. Who's this?
Cute.
This is the Hilda plushie.
That is Hilda. She inspired
that
the
is
angry
Hilda.
bird, chubby bird.
Hilda, angry, sassy, spicy, my queen. She's my little queen.
Okay, so tell us about Hilda and like how to deal with a bird that's really sassy and bitey and behavioral.
Dinosaur. They're basically a dinosaur.
Yeah,
They are the
yeah.
true self.
I always refer to them as dinosaurs. She's a little Conyosaurus Rex.
For sure. So you get them in your life, and I adopted out Hilda with her husband Francis to someone who is bird experience, and they're like, can we keep Francis and give back Hilda? And I go, absolutely not. They're bonded. They adore each other. Never separate bonded birds unless like there's a change of personality and they start hurting each other, which happens to cockatoos. I've witnessed that firsthand when I was doing bird stuff. But anyways, what to do about them? You accept them for the way they are and still give them a good life as much as possible. She came back with Francis, and I adopted them out again because it's like, we weren't like this, and I was doing rescue stuff. So she went to another bird experience person. They were very experienced with parrots. They too got returned. Again. So I'm like, you know what, Hilda, you stuck with me now, because it's just, I consider you special because of the
So
high level of nastiness. So trying to not be too lengthy about it. So yeah, you accept them. In order to give her food, I have a little food bowl with the rim and I slide it in. She can't murder my fingers as easily. Over what, say 10 years, she has gotten nicer. She will not step up
well,
for
that's
me.
great news.
Of devotion to my little monster sassy baby. And she goes on my shoulder without attacking my ear. Little
Amazing.
victories. Little victories with these guys, okay? Like
Oh my gosh.
we're here for them. They are not
Okay.
here for us.
I need to know what made Hilda such a monster, angry, aggressive bird. And
I don't freaking know.
have you tried like different desensitization techniques, training techniques, working through the biting and all that kind of stuff,
Working through the
diet
biting.
conversion?
She got her pellets. She gets a little bit of seed. She gets her millet. She has little happy squeaks when she gets her millet. It's really cute. Oh, all right. So people would, if they watched me handle Hilda nowadays, they think I was abusing her, but she freaking loves it. So she has a whoopee. She has a rag that she loves to latch onto, and I'll burrito her. Come here. And I'll wiggle her and I'll kiss the back of her head because she's busy murdering this rag. And she has a pep in her step after we play like this. And I take the rag and I go body slam, and I have her a little fluff bed in there with her, and I rub her, and she's like, she's making these little happy squeaky noise, and she rings her bell and she launches her toys and she comes back at me and she jumps on the rag, and we have this like little birdie wrestling roughhouse session, and she loves it. And ever since then, she's been cooler with me. She goes on my shoulder. She comes for hand wash, like rude. Like I'll have my hands in the sink and the birdies will flutter over and wash their faces in my hands, and she will join in now.
Cute.
So I
That's
embraced
progress.
the Berberian need of roughhouse play, and she got nicer.
Interesting. Okay. So what is your advice to somebody who is dealing with a bird that is so aggressive and just so angry all the time, and they've tried everything and nothing's working and they don't know what to do?
Embrace their chaos.
Embrace you heard it here first, people. Embrace the chaos with Birbs.
That is my birdist wisdom of the day.
Before we move on to the artwork, I wanted to ask you, what would your advice be to somebody who just adopted a bird with special needs or is thinking about a bird with special needs? What are like the special like requirements or things that you recommend? I know you mentioned working from home and being able to attend to the bird a lot. What would be your advice to somebody who is thinking or adopting a bird with special needs?
They're just like any other bird, really. They just need a little extra care, and I do feel like a lot of them over time will greatly appreciate it. They will appreciate it. They'll see that you're trying to help them, and I feel like there's a wonderful, rewarding bonding experience that can happen. And I totally forgot pluckers, because just that's how my brain works. Totally
I saw
pluckers.
Daddy on your flock, and
Daddy lovebird.
Completely bare belly, no feathers.
Oh my God, that boy. He was at the point where he was never going to grow his feathers back. And he had flutter time. He had his wife. He had little babies that he got to raise. And he was older. He was an older guy. So just make him comfy. So in that instance, where the feathers aren't going to grow back and they're not wounding themselves, because birds will self-harm, I would say just as long as they're happy, healthy, and thriving, other than their feathers, just that it is what it is in that instance. Um, been vetted, all that. Now you get a bird like Lolo. Lolo came to me feathered. She was found outside and don't know her age, don't know her background. She started plucking.
Also a lovebird?
Also lovebird, another plucky lovebird. I take a shine to the plucky lovebirds. And we ended up treating her with neurological type of like anxiety meds.
Oh.
And I turned to the meds because she was boo-booing her leg. So, and I noticed she started doing that after I removed her little bracelet. I had the vet remove her bracelet, and ever since then, she started on her leg and then progressed, which I don't know if that caused it,
Oh my
but
gosh.
maybe there was some sort of like attachment to it. I don't know. I just removed it because I figured she'd be happier without it. She used to play with it. God, I don't know. So
Did you ever
long,
consider putting it back on?
I honestly did not. I wonder, God, that is a good idea.
We should have talked
I didn't make the
sooner.
connection. Yeah, right. I didn't make the connection until later on. And I'm like, crap. Maybe it was that. Oh God, now I feel terrible.
Okay,
Oh,
so while we're on the topic,
yeah.
what is your advice on dealing with a bird that you just adopted that's a plucker, or a bird that you just got that started plucking?
Bet
Or like if
100%
you
bet.
have a bird that just has plucked before and their feathers aren't growing back, what
If they're not going
adjustments?
back, it is what it is. I feel like if they are growing back, like okay, so Lolo medicine helped her, neurological medicine helped her. I'm going to try a Lupron shot on Milo because sometimes hormones can cause them to pluck.
And what is that
Um,
shot?
um,
I'm not
the
familiar
Lupron
with
is
that.
for hormonal. The neurological, honestly, I can't remember off the top of my head, and I don't want to mention it because I don't want people to start
Yeah.
being like, "I'm gonna go give this to my bird now."
Yeah,
I
you
want them to
always have to talk to your
go through the
avian vet.
steps.
Make sure, you do all the testing and figure out, what's the best protocol for your bird for their specific situation, because every situation's different. Every bird is different.
Oh yes, 100. Every bird is different. Every single bird. So the medicine didn't work on Milo. That worked on Lolo. So Milo now has a collar, and I give him breaks from the collar. He's spoiled. I think it might be hormones. I'll let you know because we're going to take him to the vet soon. Because we tried other methods between the collar, giving him breaks, taking away the toys that make him extra naughty. We tried a number of things. So
So
yeah, the
the
next step will
being
be the Lupron.
overly hormonal is causing the plucking in his case.
Sometimes yes.
So
That's my theory right now.
so the shot that you're doing, it's like to calm down the hormones.
Yeah, and I don't like doing it, but he plucks to the point of harming.
Yeah.
So he gets like rough red patches, and I feel bad for him.
Oh,
Just
that's
like people,
crazy.
people self-harm too when they have stress in life, anxieties, environments wonky. Same thing with birds.
Yeah.
um
I love that you brought that up because a lot of times we don't think of that. We're, especially on the podcast, we're always talking about birds, 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 but we can also compare some of these behaviors to humans. Humans do the same thing in different ways, or,
oh
when they're
yeah.
stressed out or things are happening, they have vices or they might self-harm, like you mentioned, and things like that. So sometimes we just have to put ourselves in our bird's claws and think, they changed homes, they are now, in
Which
our
I
home.
think
This
might be
is
Milo's
new.
case.
They don't know me. They don't trust me. Like, it's scary. Like, when you're an animal that doesn't speak the same language as your new caretaker, that's not even the same species as you. When you think about it from that angle, you're like, oh my gosh, it is scary. Like, everything is new. You're in this new place with these new people. You don't know what they're saying or what they want from you. And you're like, I'm
Yeah.
speaking English. Understand.
Yeah.
We have such high expectations sometimes, but we need to understand that they are still wild animals and they are still very intelligent, but we also need to treat them as individuals.
They're feathered people.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're little feather people.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay, so I think we trailed off a little bit. We wanted to get your advice
My
to anybody
specialty.
who is thinking about adopting a special needs bird
Right,
or
right.
bringing a special needs bird into their home.
But yes, just a little, sometimes a little extra care goes a long way. I would working from home or living with your family that's also on board with helping out with the responsibilities. Like my mom was home all the time, so she could help. And my dad was into birds. So he would like when he came home from work, he'd go loaf in the chair and have like birdie time. So you either have a team, you work from home. If you work long hours, I mean, even if you do have, if you work long hours, this isn't so much a special needs bird sort of advice, is get a bird that isn't attached to you or get them a friend because they are social creatures. If you can't be there for them for a good chunk of the day, like they need stimulation from a
Yeah.
buddy. So
Yeah.
two birds.
Yeah. They can't be alone, especially for like long periods often. Like I'll leave Mia alone and she is a solo bird at the moment. And then, she'll see our dog walking around. So he's there. But
Yeah.
I always like, it's only for like a few hours because I also am home all of the time. So it's only for a few hours to go shopping or run errands or whatever. I'll
TV,
play,
radio,
Rio or Bluey or
Yeah,
something
I
for
do
her.
the same thing.
Yeah.
I put Rio on.
Create foraging opportunities and just
Yep.
stuff to keep her stimulated and engaged. And I also have a pet cam on her, so I watch her. So I know like
Oh,
she's
yeah.
either playing, she naps a lot too,
Like a
she
baby.
watches the movie.
Toddler.
So yeah, I think that that's also really important and really considering that they are social creatures. And especially if a bird has special needs, you need to also consider that, especially if you work long or hours or you're not home a lot, like you mentioned.
Like have a flock to support the special needs guy would probably like a flock of family members, or again, you being there for them. Sometimes like with the seniors, you kind of need to have a fund to care for these guys. Cody got on the expensive side because I wanted to make sure he was not in pain and just regular like check his liver function. His liver was a little not so great. So yeah, so money can be a factor. But if you
Yeah.
have, say, a blind guy, you know, not so much. Like it's not so much of an issue as long as, there nothing changes in their cage.
Yeah.
So
I think it just really depends on the individual situation and what the special need is,
yeah.
but a lot of things to consider. And I also wanted to ask you when it comes to the special needs birds, what has been like the biggest challenge when it comes to caring for and having special needs birds?
Because I had a bunch of them. If it's just like the one, I love you. If it's just one, just in the back of your mind, it's like you're always like, am I doing enough? Am I doing enough? Is he like? It's just a sense of worry kind of hangs over you a little bit. For like Milo, like for instance of Milo, I feel so frustrated because it's like I'm trying everything before doing medication because even I myself, I don't like taking medication unless I absolutely need it.
Same,
And I
same.
feel like the same going for my birds because they have side effects
Yeah.
and I don't want to impose them on them. But if you have to balance, okay, the side effects are this, but his life is this. So which is the worser one? And you have to make that call. And I always feel like it's a matter like second guessing yourself. But again, that's more of an individual thing. Some people just be like, this is fine, here you go. I mean, I
But
guess
you know what?
maybe I'm
I
that
think
gal.
that is a big challenge, and for you, that's your like your truth. That's your biggest challenge.
That's my issue. And then the money side of it, because sometimes like, oh my god, he's declining ER visit. There was a fair amount of ER visits for the guys who were really old. But then you can have an ER visit because of egg binding with this little guy.
Yeah.
Like,
And
first egg
ER
ever.
visits or, these big vet visits when something is going on, they're not cheap. And, thankfully, we haven't been in that type of situation with the birds that we've had. But for people listening or people who are thinking about getting a bird, can you tell us a little bit about these vet bills and how expensive they can
The
get?
worst one was Paco's aspergillus. Can't talk right now. Aspergillosis
That
care.
word,
Blah, 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 blah.
the aspergillosis.
Am I entertaining you, Mikey? I love you. So yeah, that cost a lot because it was a lot of experimenting. Like, hopefully this will work. Oh, let's test to see if it worked. It didn't work. Let's try something else. Okay, let's test to see if that's working. Oh, it stopped working. Now we have to try something else. We had to put him in a nebulizing box that I made out of like a cat toy and a plastic bin, and I put the tube in it, and he would just fog out. And he's like, okay, he was a good sport about it, but some birds would be like, what is happening?
Yeah.
So yeah, they can get and sometimes vets, if they see you enough, they'll feel bad for you and be like, I'll give you a discount.
Okay. And you're in the States, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So tell me, like, if you feel comfortable sharing, what was the most expensive vet visit you had in US
I
dollars?
feel like I remember not looking at them a lot because it's just like
I don't want to know that
to,
number.
I got like to $6,000 mix, but that was like rescue mix with, I feel like Paco's care was like $3,000 after all is said and done.
After it was all said and done, not all in one visit.
On one visit, they could hit like, I feel like we
Give
got
us a
to
ballpark.
over 1,000. We've gotten over 1,000.
Wow.
If I recall right. Like, my brain and remembering numbers is garbage. Like, that's why I have a lot of stuff written down.
Yeah. But even
But
still, like, this
it's
is really good
crazy.
insight, for our listeners, because these vet bills can really like get expensive if something's going on with your bird and, you need to do a bunch of testing and medication and all this kind of stuff. It does really add up. And exotic, pet vet bills are, they get expensive. They can get
And
really
it's hard
expensive.
to find them. It's hard to find avian vets. Now, I moved out of Florida, which I was spoiled down there. And we have avian vets here, but they didn't have the ER service.
And
the
where are
ones
you
that did were
now?
booked. I'm 20 minutes outside of Austin.
Oh, okay. Oh,
We had to
man.
do a 3-hour drive to Houston, just about 3 hours. Multiple times because we dropped people off, came back home, had to go back up. And lucky I get to make my own hours because
Yeah.
otherwise, heck, like if you're working for a boss, they're like, especially a strict boss, because there'd be some strict boss out there.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you're losing time working, you're losing money just by having to leave work.
Yeah. And just driving to the vet, to your ER vet, is 6 hours there and back. So
Yeah,
that's almost
yeah.
a full, like, you have to take the whole day off to take your bird to the vet. Especially if there's like in an him in an emergency situation.
Why
or
you do
her.
this to me? Why, Pico?
Yeah. So birds can definitely get expensive with their vet bills, especially if something's going on or, they're developing some kind of condition or have a condition. So also something to consider. Okay. We are going to wrap things up very soon because now we've been chatting for over an hour and it is so much fun, but I also wanted to chat a little bit about your artwork. And
I make birds.
so you talked to us in the beginning about how, Cody started birdhism and, all these birds have inspired you to create all this beautiful artwork and the Chubby Bird collection.
Yeah.
And you're sharing lots of awesome educational info through your artwork as well. I wanted to pick your brain a little bit as, this amazing artist. what is like your creative process like when you're designing new artwork, and where do you get your inspiration from? Like, is it like, oh, this new birb in my flock has inspired me, or is it something that comes
Yeah.
up, or like a controversial topic around birds?
Like, I'm not afraid to get a little sassy when I see silliness. I remember I pissed someone off royally, and I wasn't like directing it towards them, but they it wasn't at them. It was just I got inspired by what they said, and then I'm like, this is how I feel, and they hate my guts now. But what are you gonna do? Like, you can't please everybody, so that's one thing I had to learn.
Yeah.
But my so when people do something, it's so mean to say, like when they do something without proper education on certain things, I will go get inspired. I remember doing the Nurse Cody came from all the people that would come up to me and say, I used to have a bird, but, and they would just straight face tell me like a horrible situation that happened to their bird that caused their demise. And that hurt. And I don't like to linger on the hurt. I don't like to keep it inside. So to learn from their mistake and try to teach others not to do that,
You have a creative
I
outlet.
I have a creative outlet. I have Nurse Cody, and I try to say it in like a nice way. Usually I try to say it in a nice, gentle way, so it's an easier pill to swallow. So that's where the Nurse Cody's come from. And I really want to do a Nurse Cody book. With every order, I do give a Nurse Cody sheet that does like the basic bird safety, bird care stuff. So that's one way I got the word out.
Yeah.
That's one thing that motivated me to even make a shop, was like, oh, I get to spread the word of bird this way.
Yeah.
Um, birdie
Bird is the
antics.
word.
Bird is the word. I bring you the good word of bird. I am a birdist missionary, I guess.
My favorite, I think, is teal with it. I'm like,
Deal
that
with
was
it,
so
yeah.
clever.
Yeah, a little Scooty teal with it. Which is like, that's more like a meme, like deal with it with the glasses.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, let's see. So like memes, I am, oh, God, like in the early 2000s, I was such a meme lord.
I
I
love
used
memes.
Photoshop.
Like, memes are the
God,
best.
memes are
They just
fun.
like, they lighten the mood of any situation, and just
Mhm.
memes make
Are
things
my love
better.
language. They're my love language. Like, I'm not always excellent verbal communication, but visual, like that's where I shine. Because growing up, I was like super shy. I wouldn't talk to a lot of people. Like, I cared about people, but I was bullied a lot. So I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna shut up and just draw. And yeah, so like that's why I express myself through memes, I express myself through art. Um, so that's one of the sources of inspiration, I suppose.
Yeah.
Uh,
I love that you also like at a young age found like what you're good at, what you're talented at, like what is something that you're passionate about. And I also really love that it was like an outlet for you. Like, I'm sorry to hear that you were bullied and like,
yeah,
you've gone through that stuff. I know it doesn't feel good and it's not fun, and it's something that stays with you even as you grow older. Like, you don't forget that. And I think that this is a good opportunity to also like spread the message to people, like, be kind, because you never know what somebody's going through. You never know what struggles they have in their heart. You don't know what's going
yeah.
on in their mind with their mental health. And so it's really important to be kind to people and just be nice. And
Compassion for both people and birds
yeah,
comes into play a lot,
yeah,
because you can't have one without the other, really. Because
yeah.
people are hurting, and people don't know, and people do like accidentally do things to their birds, and it are just like I remember I have a friend who was going through depression, and they're like, oh no, I need to get rid of my birds because I can't get the energy to clean them. And I'm like, well, here's some ways to work through it. And they were able to work through it and keep their birds, but it's like,
Oh,
we can't forget the human element, the human psyche, our mental health, which is on blast right now. So bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doom scrolling, what
Well,
have you.
yeah, especially with everything that's also been like going on in the world for like the last few years, it's just been like one hit after the next on humans. So, we also have to like check in with ourselves so that
Mhm.
we can be the best version of ourselves and be taking of ourselves mentally and physically, because then we show up better for our pets. And we are, as we were talking about earlier, we are their keepers, their guardians. So, we also have this responsibility when we take pets into our lives, whether it's a bird or a dog or another type of animal, to care for them in the best way that we can.
For real. It's and I try like it's a struggle because like I have to do the business side of things, but I really love doing like the mental health and bird care side of things. But if I don't do merch and commissions, I don't I can't sustain myself. So, but join my Patreon. So I can focus
Yeah.
on the books
So support us too.
and the
Buy us a
people.
coffee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Am I
I
allowed to plug
know.
myself? I'm sorry. I don't like to do like that. I'm really not that type of person. But it's like I can't do one without the other.
Yeah. No, and I think that this is important for us to talk about because as like creators, we create a
Creators is
lot of
hard.
like you create designs, I create content and all these videos,
Yeah.
and it does take a lot of time. It does take a lot of effort. It takes a lot of
Oh yeah,
work.
do.
And yeah, at the end
People
of
don't
the
always
day,
show that. They
yeah.
like you don't see that. Like you see their content, but you don't see their struggle behind the scenes so much because people either they don't want to be they don't I don't know, maybe there's like some sort of front that people want to see and people want to portray. Like, I don't know, I'm
Yeah.
going off.
Yeah,
Sorry.
the thing is like people are seeing the final product, I think is what you're trying to say. Like,
Yeah.
your final keychain or the sticker or the notebook and the podcast episode. But there's so much that happens behind the
Organizing.
scenes to get
Mhm.
to that final product that you're
For
purchasing
real.
or seeing. And so, yeah, like you were mentioning, like it needs to sustain us so that we can continue to do this and advocate for parrots and birds and continue to do what we do.
Yeah, support your content creators.
Yes.
They are happy to make wonderful things for you, but they
Yeah.
also need to exist in
Yeah.
this
And at the same
ever
time,
crazy
It,
world. Sorry, go
yeah,
ahead.
it's like it's a small business, so you're supporting the small businesses. Like when people are watching our videos, that's a way that you're supporting us, liking, subscribing,
Like, subscribe.
commenting, purchasing merch and all this kind of stuff. It's just a small way to support those content creators that are doing so much behind the scenes to try and help other parents and burbs in the world. And so you might like the person listening or watching this might be like, oh, it's just like a small thing to like or to purchase. But to that content creator, it's like such a big win because it is a small
Yes.
business. And so that's something that gets them really excited. And we hope that, as content creators, that we're helping you and we're creating things or, supplying things that are going to also bring you joy and help your birds. Now I
That's the
went on a
motivation.
rant.
Yeah, I know. Like you are so good at corralling me. Like you're excellent at this. Let me point out because sometimes like I'll be like, oh, blah, 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 and you're like, come on, Jen, come back, and you do it like so politely. I love it.
Oh, thank you.
You're good at this, and you do need to be supported, and we do it out of love. Like
Yeah.
us, our creator types, we do it out of love, and we just want to keep doing it because like we give love and then you give love and it's just such a beautiful circle of like
Yeah.
yay. I mean, of
Yeah.
course, as we were mentioned behind the scenes, it's like internal screaming,
Yeah.
but for a good purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that it's also important to have like that passion for what
Yes.
we're, creating for. And I think that, you and I, we definitely have that passion for birds and advocating for, their wellness, their health, and their happiness.
For
Um,
reals.
I also wanted to ask you, as an artist, what have been the best parts and the worst parts in creating artwork that's unique and hand drawn by you?
The hardest part is just time, I think. I have so many ideas in my head and so little time, and I'm
There's
self-funded and
Yeah, I always say that too, but what I
oh,
think it actually is we have more ideas than we have time in the day to actually make those ideas come to life, because at the same time, we're not just constantly creating. We also need to eat and clean and go to our appointments and take care of our pets and take care of ourselves and exercise and get sleep and and work and do all these
oh,
different things.
for real. And then like you burn yourself out and you're like, oh, I feel so useless. Like but my brain's not working, but I need to do this.
Yeah, burnout is definitely a real thing. It happens to all of us, I think. Yeah.
I need to
So,
make an
okay,
appointment
what
for
are the
it. Yeah.
best parts in being an artist and creating all these awesome illustrations?
I love that people love them. And I used to draw like human forms. I was really into like character design and stuff. And then the birds just ended up happening. And I did it because people enjoyed it. And I was happy to make something people enjoyed. And through the art, I can express my desire for better bird care in like a gentle, like it's like a win-win all around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is your favorite
That's
piece of
my
artwork
favorite.
that you've created?
Oh geez. No. God, I actually don't reflect on my art so much as you would think I do. Like I do it and I'm like, okay, next fun thing. Oh, let's
If you had to
see.
pick one and you're like, this is my favorite drawing or my favorite piece that I've created, which one would you say?
I need you on my shoulder for a second. Hold on. So the fact that the jester drawing I did when she had an accident, and to not focus on her being in the hospital, I started finishing it up. Like, hold on, I have it, I printed it. This is how I can tell which one I like. Hold
Is this a new piece?
it's one that don't get scared, babies. Okay. All right, I'm coming back. So this one I made of Jester with her little paper crown.
Oh my
And the tulip
gosh.
was for when she had the collar that made her look like a tulip.
Oh my gosh, it's so cute.
And it was
I love
challenging.
the chubby birbs. They're so cute.
And then like, it's okay, don't be scared. I know it's okay. It's just fuchsia. And then this one I did in Cody's memory.
Oh, I was thinking there's gonna be a Cody one. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So they both have a lot of meaning behind them. And then
Yeah.
wait, what else I got? I do like teal with it. I like the ones. Oh my god, you beak punching me as punishment. Why? I like my little boba one. I got a boba keychain.
Cute.
Because oh my god, why? She's not biting hard.
Oh.
She's just being dramatic. So like this one, because I love boba, I love Japan, and I love how angry boba is on the bottom.
Oh my
And it's
gosh,
just
it's so creative. Like I
kawaii.
just love it. I love it. It's so cute. Oh my gosh, and it shakes.
So one side's flat, and then the other side is, will you stop it, Pico?
Oh, Pico's gonna take your ear off.
You're so naughty. Pico, please be, she's mad
Oh,
because she's not on
your
my
ear,
hands.
your
Step up.
ear is in danger
Oh,
zone. Oh, we just can't
bullied.
react.
I get bullied. Really,
Maybe
Pico?
some redirection.
She'll calm down in a sec. Here,
When we were chatting a bit about what are some of the worst parts of being a artist and creating your own illustrations, have you ever had
algorithms
anybody
suck.
steal your artwork? Because I think that is probably
Oh
for
god.
artists and creators, content creators, I think that that is probably one of the most frustrating and hardest things. At least like that's what I find is when people like steal your work or your artwork or your videos.
So I remember, yeah, a lot of people know it's happened a fair amount of times. I can't get into everything for certain reasons, but let's see, like,
Okay, tell
so
us
I
a little
remember
bit of tea. Come on.
I can't because paperwork.
What? Okay, this sounds juicy.
It's
Okay,
very
so
juicy.
so you've had your artwork stolen before
Yes.
by many people?
Many, well, I'll just say many people have. And people like, oh, I got this thing. And they're like, where'd you get it from? Oh, Tenmu. Oh, that's bootleg. Oh, I found this random site that has the everybody pattern on it. Did you authorize it? No. There's very few people I authorize to use my birds. Very few people.
Okay, and so what do you do in those situations? Because I actually wanted to mention that to you that I recently discovered Temu because they've been doing ads everywhere. And I've
Mm,
shopped a little bit on there, I won't lie, for some decor stuff.
yeah.
And I came across your stickers. And I at
They're
first,
lower quality for one. Mine's
well,
like
okay,
outdoor
so
quality.
I have to admit to you that somebody got them for me because they came in a pack with other
Yeah.
stickers. And in that pack, I actually have it here because I wanted to show you, was also the chubby bird stickers. And I was like, hey, this looks like birdism, but obviously I don't know if you know about it. So I wanted
Yeah.
to tell you about it. And also, I also saw that on Temu, they have the every birdie, they have the blanket and some of the other stuff. And what do you do in that situation? And how did they steal those files to create the same
Mm.
products?
I have a feeling they took it from a print on demand site because they work with multiple manufacturers. And I don't think the print on demand site's intent was for that to happen, but it could just be one manufacturer being naughty that spread it. And they're in a foreign country, so there's only so much you can do. And honestly, in a way, like I'm not really a money. The only reason that I like having money is to survive and use it as a tool. I don't care so much about the finance. I mean, I do and I don't. I'm happy that the chubby birds are reaching people that want them. They are cheaper because they can produce things in mass quantities that I can't do. So when you produce something in a large amount, it brings the price down. I
Yeah,
can't necessarily produce things in a huge amount to bring that price down because A, I'm not a manufacturer, and B, I don't have the means to have that big old down payment and then
yeah,
wait for the stuff to sell.
yeah.
Like, so I am happy that people again are having access to the design that brings them joy. Um, and I kind of sometimes the people I think about the people who are doing it, and I'm like, would they do it if they didn't need the money? If they didn't need to survive? Like it's there's a lot of levels of it. I wish they wouldn't. I wish they
Yeah.
wouldn't do it. Now people using it for their profile pictures, people that take the art and bring it to a tattoo artist and say, I want this. I don't mind that. Personal use, don't mind that. I have
It's when
someone,
it
hey, can I
becomes for like business use and they're
commercial?
making money off of the
They
work that
exploit.
you
Yeah,
did.
yeah. There, I do not like that. And
Yeah.
I watched a video saying this is the price we pay for being out there. And what do? You make more and better products. That's what you do. You get it's like, yes, that sucks. Now you can send a cease and desist, which I have. I had Amazon's what is it called? Uh, Something that brand protection sort of thing. And I
Okay.
have copyright. I had a lawyer do copyright for me. So I have all the good stuff. I have the
Yeah.
paper and I submitted it to Amazon, and Amazon said, okay, we'll take it down. Well, those vendors were like, well, we found it on the internet and we can use it, and which is totally BS. So Amazon then says, well, in order to really, really take this down, you have to sue them. You have to flat out sue them. And if they're in another country, how do you do that?
Oh my gosh, that is so frustrating. See, I knew that
Yeah.
this was the worst part of being an artist. When other people steal your work. And the thing
Or
is like these
bootleg it.
places like we were talking about Temu, they just care about making money. They don't care
Yeah.
about how the artist feels. And that's why I think it's important, like if you know the content creators, then support their business, like get the art directly from them. So I do sincerely apologize for this.
No, and like I can't be mad at someone who didn't know any better. It was a gift. Like I'm not mad at the people who have them at all, not at all. Because you can't be mad at someone for not knowing any better. A and B, it's just like, what are you gonna do? It's part of the being known online, I guess. Yeah, like because sometimes I'll get people who message me like, hey, someone got this and it's a bootleg, and I'm like, well, don't be mad at them. You can be mad at the vendor.
Yeah.
And it's like, let them enjoy it. I did see like a tattoo place marketing my artwork, and someone came to me recently and was like, oh my god, I saw this as a flash sale and I got it, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, it's not your fault, don't feel bad. It's the vendor or it's the tattoo place who should know better. And actually another tattoo place did something similar. One of their workers posted something and they got in trouble. The artists got in trouble by their boss, who made them clean the tattoo parlor for like X amount of time as punishment.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that was like, I mean, from an artist to an artist, because tattoo artists are artists. Like you should not be doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. As artists, we need to like respect each other in that space.
I know there's people who want to hear tea, but I make coffee. I don't make tea.
You know what? I love coffee. Let's put some pumpkin spice syrup in there for
I
me.
actually got some pumpkin spice.
I love pumpkin spice.
I don't
right.
care if anyone judges me. I love the pumpkin spice. It makes me feel of New York fall and happy memories.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the sweater weather because right now it's like 32 degrees and I'm like, it is so hot outside and I'm ready for autumn.
I'm in Texas now and we actually do have the leaves change.
Already?
But it's not like December. Well, in December.
Oh, in December.
Yeah, in New York, it's more grandiose. In like September, what was it, like October's like peak.
Yeah, October's my favorite month.
Oh my god, like October
in North America is like my favorite. Well, like where there's 4 seasons, because in Florida, I don't know if you guys get
Florida, we have hurricane season, rainy season, and summer.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan. Like I love my friends in Florida and I love the nature of Florida, but Florida, I always like whenever I stream on Twitch, I roast Florida.
Oh my god.
It's like a hobby now.
Oh no.
Floridians know what I'm talking about.
Well, I mean, like when I ever see the news about like the weather in Florida, I'm like, you guys have crocodiles and snakes and hurricanes and crazy weather, but it's beautiful and sunny.
Oh, it's like, and then there's red tide and blue green algae that they don't want the world to know about, but like it's blue green algae happens in the canals and it's because of the sewage runoff from the farms up north, like the cows and stuff, and it just makes these big nasty algae plumes. The red tide messes with your respiratory system, closes beaches. So it's like if there's water and there's pollution.
Okay, is all of these different things the reason why you moved out of Florida?
No, it's the people. Were a lot of shadiness, and I feel like the shadiness came because of the cost of living and the chronic need to be hustle mode and stress. Like I feel like if people didn't have to work like 3 jobs and didn't have to rush everywhere, like if the cost of living was more feasible, I think people would be happier, honestly. Yeah.
And I actually recently was watching this show, like Housewives of Miami or something like that. And I was like, wow, Florida looks so amazing and beautiful and great. But I guess when you have millions, then yeah.
Yeah, if you got that money, it's wonderful. You get to go to like the pretty art museums and the shows and the concerts. But then you go to South Beach and it's a parking lot. You can't drive anywhere. And then park is like $50.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. All right.
It's
Well,
nice in moderation.
let everybody know that's listening how they can find you on social media, your website, and where they can purchase your products with your artwork.
Oh, birdism everywhere is birdism. I got birdism on Twitch. I got birdism on all the major socials with it's birdism with the H because I modeled it after Buddhism. So
Ooh.
bird and then HISM.
Love that.
Yeah. And although if you go to like chubbybirds.com, I own that, so that'll take you there too. Right, Mikey? So yeah, just on social media, come say what, Mikey?
And if people want to shop your designs, it's on birdhism.com, right?
Yes, birdhism.com. Yeah, Mikey, he was gonna tell me to shut up and he did.
It's so cute when the birds tell us to shut up.
And he does it because he learned that from a rescue. That's a long story too. Yeah, so birdhism.com and Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or if you just call it X. I'm all there. And you can message me at info@birdhism.com. If you have any questions, bird care stuff,
Awesome. Love it. Well, Jen, thank you so much for coming on to the show today. And I wanted to wrap things up with something that I saw on your website and it really touched my heart. It was about Cody. And you wrote, I've learned a lot from Cody and the variety of other birds who have come into my life through the years of bird rescue. No matter how healthy someone seems or how much care they receive, no one is promised a tomorrow. Even a seemingly healthy person or animal can pass in an instant. Do your best to treat them with kindness, even when they're having a bad day and are full of sass. You never know when it will be the last time you spend time with them. And that was so special because honestly, it wraps up everything that we were talking about today. And we talked about, spreading kindness and caring for our birds and doing the best that we can by them. And I think that was just like such a beautiful thing to read because it's true. You never know. And we all have our days. Like Mia, sometimes she has her good days. Sometimes she's really sassy and full of energy. Sometimes she goes into dinosaur mode. Other times she's really cuddly. But we need to just remember that we're the same. Sometimes we have bad days. Sometimes we have good days. Sometimes we're full of energy. Sometimes we're drained. So we just need to appreciate the time that we have and be really kind to each other and to our birbs.
Exactly. Yeah. And just encourage everyone to just do better. And yeah, just I wrote that, huh?
Yeah.
I forget
you wrote that well.
I'm pretty good at writing when I get in the zone, and I mean every single word of it. So, but birds have a lot to teach us.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah. And any final thoughts that you wanted to share with anybody that's listening when it comes to birds or artwork or anything that we chatted about today?
Just do your best. Do tons of research. Never stop learning. Don't even with me, I have years and years of experience. I am not a vet. If you hear something from me, get a set, do double research because I could be wrong sometimes. I try my best, but seek help from a professional, other resources. Just never stop learning, I think.
Yeah.
Never stop learning and do your best is my advice, and be nice to birbs and each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Love that message. Thank you so much, Jen.
I'm gonna eat this pickle now.
Thanks so much for tuning in to the Parrot Podcast. I'm your host, Sandra, and I hope that you enjoyed this episode with Jen for Birdism. Don't forget to check her out on social for cute and funny educational content, as well as her website to support her as an artist. And with that, I hope you have a great day ahead, and don't forget to be kind to birbs and to people. Oh, and one more thing. This podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. I'm not a licensed avian vet, behaviorist, or professional expert in parrots. The information provided is not intended as a substitute for professional advice from a qualified avian vet, trainer, or behaviorist. Please consult with a specialist for personalized guidance on your specific situation.